Welcome back to the 18-19 school year in Henderson County. I'm Margana Stanley, the superintendent, and each week I do a superintendent message. And this week we are kicking it off with Mrs. Casey Farmer. She is our Director of Pupil Personnel. We kind of abbreviate that and call her our DPP. And she's here today just to share some helpful hints to our parents and our students of how to have the most extraordinary successful school year you can in Henderson County. Ms. Farmer, what are some tips that you can share today?
Well, some of the tips, we want to work with our families and help set up positive and healthy routines at home. Some of the things we encourage is setting a regular bedtime every night. That helps our kids to establish a healthy routine. Also, something as simple as getting their backpack ready the night before.
That even
Sitting
helps me as an adult.
Yes.
Just organizing my things before I have to walk out the door in the morning.
Setting it at the back door so they can grab that as they walk out the door. Also, things such as just a reminder to parents that immunizations and physicals, the dental appointment, those things that are necessary for our kindergartners, sixth graders, just a reminder that all those things need to be done within the first 30 days of the school year and turned into the school nurse. Also, it's a new school year. Students have new teachers, they have new staff in their building, and just parents, if your students are feeling anxious or worried about attending school, we just encourage you to talk to their guidance counselor, their teachers, because we want all of our kids to be excited. We want them to come to school and feel safe. And so those conversations, and if you haven't met your child's teacher or guidance counselor or principal, we also encourage you to stop by the school and meet with them.
They could make an appointment, and a lot of schools have their ice cream socials going on, back to school nights right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we want to know all of our parents. Every principal wants to meet their parents, and especially our child's teacher, so that's really important. And then lastly, we do encourage families to please make as many medical, I know it's hard to get appointments sometimes outside of school time, but if possible, we ask that families get appointments outside of school time. And then if they're going on a trip, we do ask that those are scheduled during our school holiday times, such as fall break, Christmas break, or spring break.
I think those are great tips. Now, sometimes when a student does go visit a doctor, the doctors write a doctor's note out, and we want to make sure they take that to school. That's important that gets to school. But they also tell us a little bit about what does the time frame mean that might be on a doctor's note.
Okay, that's a good question. Some of our doctors are orthodontists, counselors, therapists in the community. They put a exit time on the note, meaning they make a note of the time that our students left their office. And so we want families to know that a doctor's note is good for that time. And that we do want the students, if medically possible, we do need them to return to school after that appointment. And that note is only good for that time.
The time frame that's on there.
Yes.
And obviously we'll allow a little bit of travel time.
Absolutely.
From the doctor's office to the school.
Absolutely.
But within a reasonable amount of time. Then it's covered. Sure. And so one of the jobs that you have in Henderson County Schools is I kind of joke and I say you're kind of in charge to make sure that all 7,600 students are at school and on time.
Yes.
And so attendance is a big world that you work in. Absolutely. And how many parent notes are students allowed per semester?
Parents get eight parent notes per year.
Okay.
4 parent notes they can use from August to December, and then 4 more parent notes that they can use from January to May. So they do have 4 parent notes because emergencies do happen, and we know that. And this allows families to have those excuses for those types of emergencies, or just simply sometimes our children are very sick, and but it is an issue that it's not necessary to go to the doctor. And so we have those notes that parents can use in those times.
Sure. I know that you have been having some community meetings with doctors and our dentists and, well, even our judges and all sorts of our community partners. And I actually attended one of those, and I heard you talking with a nurse about temperature. You know, when a student's feeling sick and what's considered a temperature, and what are the guidelines that we agree with our medical professions that we'll follow in the Henderson County schools?
Okay. Our guidelines, we do kind of divide this into 3 sections. First, we would like you to send your child to school if, for example, they have a runny nose or just a little cough and there's no other symptoms. We would encourage you to send your child to school. We would encourage you also, if they have not run a fever within 24 hours, please go ahead and send them to school. If they have not thrown up or had any diarrhea within 24 hours, we encourage them to go ahead and come to school. But we also encourage you to keep your child at home if they have a temperature that is over 100.4. If they are throwing up or have diarrhea, and then also if their eyes are pink and crusty, that's an indicator that there could also be an issue. And then lastly, we encourage you to call the doctor if a student has a temperature over 100 for more than 2 days. If throwing up or diarrhea continues for more than 2 days. If they've had the sniffles for more than a week and they just don't seem to be getting better. And if they have asthma symptoms after using their appropriate medication and those symptoms continue, we do encourage parents to call the doctor at that point too.
Okay, great. Those are great guidelines. The one thing that really stood out to me was that 100.4.
Yes.
It's a great gauge for parents, for us as school officials, to all kind of fall on a same, just a standard of kind of deciding whether I should send them or keep them home. That's great information. Well, I really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
And we certainly want our kids to be prepared, feel ready for the 18-19 school year. You know, being on time and ready is all about building a better graduate for us. I hope everyone has an extraordinary school year.